Hi, Todd Martin here with The Walking Code. In this Walking Code video, we're going to switch it up and change from walking technique to the technique for sitting down and standing up from a chair. I've talked a lot in previous walking videos about how much pain people can get in the front of the knees when they walk, whether that's walking on flat ground or uphill or downhill. But one of the other common activities we do every day that causes pain in the knees for a significant number of people is getting up from a chair. So we're going to work on how to use the core properly to get up from a chair, sit down in a chair, and sit down in a chair with proper posture. You may also know that over time, as people get older, they begin to not be able to get up from a chair without pushing off from their knees or pushing off from a hand rest. So we're going to work on using the core properly, so now and in the future you'll be able to get up from a chair without relying on your hands to push off. It simply means we're going to be doing it with proper technique, and that makes the movement much easier than if we're trying to get up using the core incorrectly. I'm going to start by showing you how to sit down correctly. We're going to do this from a front view, and then I'm going to do it from a side view. To begin with, I want to have my feet facing straight forward. I want to be just about a half a foot or so in front of the chair. And the first thing I'm going to do is not just plop back, I'm going to pitch from my hips, bending my knees until I get to this position. Notice I'm still looking straight forward. I'm not looking down at the ground, which causes me to over pitch. I'm looking straight forward, and I'm in a nice pitched position, almost like I'm about to go Lindy Hop dancing. So I'm going to come back up, pitch at the hips. So that's where the hinge joint here at the hips, that's where I'm pitching back. So it's almost like I'm pushing my butt backwards. Notice my knees are still lined up over my ankles. They're not forward over my toes, which would start causing knee pain already. So my bottom is going backwards. My knees are not going forwards. Head still facing straight forwards. So I begin by pitching my bottom backwards, and then I'm going to complete the movement by sitting down. And as I sit down, my torso goes back to a vertical alignment. My knees are still lined up over my ankles. I want to try to keep my feet facing straight forward here. And I want to keep my spine elevated and my head elevated, floating up, just like we may have discussed in our posture videos if you've seen those in the past. So I'm going to walk around to the side of the chair and show you the side view. When I'm going to sit down, again, I want to be a few inches in front of the chair. I want to be standing with proper posture. I want to be standing with my feet facing roughly parallel. And I'm going to begin by pitching the bottom back. I'll go back, standing forward. Pitch at the hip joints, pushing the bottom back. My knees are still lined up over my ankles, not forward of my toes, which is going to cause knee pain. Pitch the bottom back. I'm still looking straight forward, and then I'm going to sink into the chair. As I finish sinking, my posture is still going to be completely vertical. My feet are going to be resting flat on the floor, and my head is still straight up, eyes gazing forwards. So this is the proper posture for sitting in the chair. Avoid pitching over like this, leaning back in different positions. So none of these are great posture. If you're relaxing watching TV, that's one thing. If you're going to be at work for 8 hours in a day, you really want to be working at your desk with proper posture, with proper alignment, particularly if you're at a computer workstation, because if you're not properly aligned, not only are you going to end up with back problems, you could end up with carpal tunnel syndrome and other problems caused by the joints not being aligned correctly. Now I'm going to show you how to get up from this position. Now you might have found that you shifted back You might have gotten into a little more relaxed posture if you were sitting for a long time. But before we get up, we want to make sure we're back to our regular, proper posture. Knees are going to be aligned up over my ankles. I don't want them inwards too much like this, because then as I try to push up, I'm going to be pushing pressure into my kneecaps. I want my feet out, flat on the floor, and my spine vertical. Now what we're going to do to get up is 2 different motions that are going to get me out of my chair. The first thing I want you to understand, which might be obvious to most people, is I can't push myself directly up from this position. I have no leverage to have my glutes and my quadriceps pull my body up from here. I need to first get my center of mass over my legs before I can start moving up. And so I'm going to do that by 2 slight shifts of weight, which are very difficult to visualize. I'm going to first begin to shift my weight forward towards the camera, and that's the first part of the motion. And then I'm going to do one final shift that's going to push my weight off the chair. And now I'm back into a pitched position, and here I'm going to stand directly up. I'm not trying to stand directly up from the chair. Now I'm going to go back to sitting down, pitch my bottom backwards, and then sit down, proper posture. Now I'm going to do this in a little bit faster motion so you can see how I'm first beginning to shift forward, then I finish the shift forward, and then I push up. So essentially 3 movements. Put my feet in proper position, shift, complete the shift, and then push up. So now that we've sat down, I'm going to show you the 3 motions from a side view that we use to get up. First, make sure your feet are planted squarely on the floor, not too close to the chair, not too far away. The first part, I am going to lean forward, keeping my spine aligned, so I'm not scrunching forward. I'm leaning everything forward, and this gets me about halfway over my thighs. That's the first part of the lean. The second part is what's going to get my body to shift off the chair before I push up. So I am now shifting forward. I'm going to complete the forward shift, and now I'm going to rise up to a standing position. I'm going to begin my shift of the weight forward, complete the shift of the weight forward, and then rise to a standing position. I'm going to sit back down again, pitching the body backwards, or pushing the bottom backwards. Don't pitch the head forward, pitch the hips backwards, and then sit down, keeping the spine vertical. Now we're going to shift forward, complete the forward shift, and then rise.